Mr. Alok Tibrewala, Chairman of the National Executive Council for 2026, Mr. Ravish Kamath, President of Plastindia Foundation, Mr. Pradeep Rathod, Chairman of the National Advisory Board Plastindia Foundation, Mr. Jigesh Doshi, immediate past President, Sunil Singhi ji, my good friend and colleague, Chairman of the National Traders Welfare Board set up by the Government of India, Mr. Thomas Franken, the Director of the Messe Dusseldorf from Germany, Mr. Dharmendra Gandhi, the Honorable Treasurer of Plastindia Foundation, Mr. Raju Desai, Vice President, all the distinguished captains of industry who are present here today, all the very, very important players in the plastic industry who have over the years helped create one of the most successful and dynamic industries in the Indian landscape. The plastic industry, which certainly makes every Indian proud, serving almost every moment of our life in some form or the other. My greetings, my compliments to each and every one of you, and my best wishes for the success of Plast India 2026, which we are launching today. At the outset, my apologies that I was very much delayed. I've been on the street since 7 a.m. today. After an evening yesterday where I think I last wound up at about midnight. I had a series of programs through the day, and I had my lunch in the drive from Geo to Grand Hyatt just now. I asked the Geo people to drum up some pasta for me since the chef is an old friend, and I had a very, very delicious pasta. And when you're hungry, you know how tasty a pasta even cold can feel. But I'm indeed delighted to be amongst all of you, because the positivity that I see here, the enthusiasm, the commitment is truly remarkable. The plastic industry certainly has played a very important role in the growth of the economy, in taking India to where we are now. The various Plast India exhibitions over the years have also played an important role. 11 exhibitions so far. The last one's statistics which Alokji just gave us were truly phenomenal. I don't know which other exhibition can charge $1,000 for every visitor to come in. मैं देख रहा था, मैं तो वॉलेट ही भूल गया हूँ. मेरे को अलाउ करोगे कि नहीं 2026 में? But a very good principled stand so that the exhibition is self-sustaining. The exhibition provides value. Very often we find that anything you get free of charge doesn't really get the kind of respect that it deserves. Often I tell people, don't give anything free, charge a little bit, albeit normally, very nominal. But it adds value to whatever you're offering a person. And I'm delighted at the ambitious plans that Plast India has set before itself. I remember when Ravish and Alokji came, I was expecting the typical demands, itne crore rupaye de do, itna MAI mein support de do, buyer-seller meet ke liye humko foreign se exhibitors lane. And by the way, I have stopped giving support to people who ask to pay for the travel bills and the hotel bills of buyers. I've told my ministry to stop that. If a buyer can't afford a ticket and a hotel stay for 3 days, he's not going to buy anything from you. But I was immensely pleased when I saw the confidence and the spirit that both our young friends had. They did not ask me for anything, but possibly a little smarter that they asked for me. कई बार हम ये करते हैं ना, हमको आपसे कुछ नहीं चाहिए, बस आप ही हमारे साथ जुड़ जाओ, उसके बाद रिलायंस को एक 10 करोड़ रुपए का बिल भेज देना। और क्या आप नानावती जी से 3 प्लैटिनम स्पॉन्सर के बीच एक खड़ा कर देते हो? नानावती जी, आपने तो सुपर प्लैटिनम बन के 10 करोड़ रुपए देने ही चाहिए। With no disrespect to the other platinum sponsors, I'm just trying to make their job easier. वैसे तो Alok seems to be very qualified in this job. As I was hearing how he raised the sponsors, I was thinking in my mind, we are looking for a treasurer. आपको आमंत्रण दे सकते हैं चल. But truly very, very delighted to be amongst all of you, because you epitomize not only talent, not only skill, not only your self-confidence, but also the huge potential that this industry holds for India. I still remember when there was a ban on plastic less than 50 micron, there was some concerns that some of the players had. I remember meeting many delegations. I do believe that was a right step, particularly considering sustainability and the future ahead. But you also had very legitimate points of view in terms of the transition period, grandfathering of old stocks. And if I remember correctly, that was sorted out amicably. But during that period, I remember discussing it with the Honorable Prime Minister and with the Honorable Home Minister. And I would like to share with you that both my leaders told me that this is one industry that must be supported. It has a large number of MSME players. It contributes tremendously to employment and jobs. It has an important role to play in our own growth story. And I was directed by Narendra Bhai and Amit Bhai that this industry holds a very bright future and go out all the way. अब इसका ये मतलब नहीं है आप सोचे कि अगले मीटिंग में 10 करोड़ रुपए मेरे से ही मांग लें. But truly, it's a matter of great satisfaction to see the ambitious plans that you've drawn up. Bharat Mandapam has been visualized by Prime Minister Modi to present to the world the India story. We had the G20 Leaders Summit over there. In fact, your CEO conference, which we have agreed to have on the sidelines of the exhibition, I will host all your CEOs, domestic and international, in the Leaders Summit room. And you will all be my guests for the interaction and the dinner that evening. Friends, while I'm very happy that you are looking at Bharat Next, but I would like to see Plastindia becoming an annual feature or biannually, whatever you decide. Personally, I think with the rapid advancements in your industry, we should have it more frequently. And since you did give me a little credit for the Bharat and tagline and added next, maybe I can suggest for your next conference, Bharat Forever. Because what you are doing is going to have a lasting impact for the future of India. I'm glad that you don't have silos in your industry. The very purpose and concept that we had articulated when we did Bharat Next, and the organizer of that, Bhadresh Todia, is here. When we did Bharat Mobility, when we are expanding Ahar, when we are looking at electrical industry having a world-class exhibition, the idea behind it, Thomas, is that all exhibitions in India should not only be world-class, but should be the biggest and best in the world. That is what India aspires for. And it's very much doable. Friends, Bhadresh can tell you more than me. When I first approached the textile industry, and I said we'll break every silo amongst the various industry players. They did have exhibitions in the past, but apparel would have its own exhibition, yarn would have its own exhibition, fabric, home furnishing. Everybody had dispersed exhibitions. Smaller, different times, different venues. When I requested them to look at a large scale, whole of the industry exhibition, breaking the silos amongst different sectors, bringing the entire value chain under one roof, and creating a world level of exhibition. I remember, if you don't mind, Bhadresh Bhai, they were aghast. They just couldn't believe that I'm asking them to do that. Then we started negotiating. They said it will take us 2 years to do it. 2 साल बोला था ना शुरू में. 2 साल का they negotiated with me down to 1.5 years. Then they came down to 1 year. But I was very clear that has to be done in 6 months. However, we negotiated back and forth for 2 months out of those 6 months. So finally they got 4 months and created what I can dare say was one of the finest exhibitions I've ever seen in my life. Bharat Next covered all of Bharat Mandapam, covered all of Yashobhumi, had every single sector related to textiles under one roof. When Hon'ble Prime Minister came to inaugurate it, there were 8,000 people in front of him, 8,000 people. There were at least 1,600 more in 2 overflowing halls. And I remember amongst the Prime Minister was really in his element. He is very, very close to the textile industry, just like he is to the plastic industry. And I remember in his speech he mentioned that I had forgotten to get the chemical industry because chemicals also play a role. And I was wondering to myself, ye galti kaise ho gayi? But when the program got over, they came rushing to me to tell me, no, chemicals is also there. They are in so-and-so exhibition hall. You can go and have a look at that. That was the extent of detail in bringing the entire value chain on one roof. Machinery manufacturers, software providers, every single element of the textile industry, starting from farmers, cotton, and the fashion show that they presented. I don't know whether in plastics we can have something like that, but you could possibly invite Bhadresh to help curate one for you. It was really fabulous, absolutely remarkable. Same was the story with Bharat Mobility. I requested the auto industry to come on one page, end to end. They had also been doing exhibitions in a disparate manner. I don't know how much time I gave them, probably 5 months or thereabouts. मुझे अभी याद नहीं आ रहा है, शायद कब था उनका ऑटो का 5 महीने दिए थे, मुझे अभी याद नहीं आ रहा है कितना टाइम. उनका भी यही कहानी थी कि we'll do it in 2026, but they finally landed up doing it in 2024, probably February or March. And truly, that exhibition was covering every single aspect of the automobile sector. Companies which had never participated in an exhibition came forward. Both these exhibitions hardly took any support from the government. And today, we can proudly say that mobility, textiles, food, electricals, the Indian Mobile Congress relates to the electronics industry, and we are identifying a few more. Idea is that 12 to 15 world-class, world's largest exhibitions should be held in India if India wants to become a developed nation, a Viksit Bharat, if India wants to become the third largest economy in the next 3 years by 2027, as the IMF has estimated, if India wants to grow from a $3.5 trillion to a $35 trillion economy in the next 25 years, if India is looking to provide prosperity and a better quality of life to every single child born in this country, if India wants to be at the forefront of technology, of modern advancements, then I think it's time we started thinking big. It's time we became more bold. It's time we started capturing world markets. It's time we became self-reliant, Atmanirbhar. It's time we dealt with the rest of the world from a position of strength. आत्मविश्वास हमारा पक्का होना चाहिए. दुनिया की कोई ताकत भारत को एक विकसित भारत, एक प्रॉस्परस समृद्ध भारत बनाने से रोक नहीं पाएगी. I remember I had come to your program in 2022, sometime in April of 2022, when I had visualized your sector contributing $100 billion to the export sector. I believe you are at about 25 billion now? 11 billion. I think if we look at much more ambitious targets, Alokji did tell me with a great deal of pride, and rightly so, that you're growing at about 12-13% a year. But may I venture to suggest that the Indian economy is already growing at 11% nominally. Our nominal growth is at 11% even today. Last 3 years, our growth at constant numbers was 8%. Nominal growth was 12 or 13%. Now, in that situation, I don't think the plastic industry can rest on the laurels of growing at 12 or 13 or 14%. Think about it. Today, you are replacing so many other products. Sustainability, energy conservation, less consumption of fuel, petrol, more effective electric vehicles, all of these, aeroplanes. Nowadays, even ships are looking at polymers and plastics for a variety of products within their architecture. Are all going plastic because you provide durability, flexibility, you provide lightweight, you provide all the ingredients that the modern world is looking for. And therefore, I would think that your industry should be at least ambitious enough to try and look for a 20% growth year on year. And it's doable. Don't look only at the India growth story. And don't even be deterred that world growth is slowing down, international trade is slowing down. What is our contribution to international trade? We are barely at 1.5%, 2%, 1.8%. What stops the plastic industry from aspiring to be 20% of the global trade? What stops us from looking at scale, economies of scale, looking at the huge talent, the skills of our workmen, our people, our young men and women, and the power of compounding we are all witnessing in the stock market nowadays. At 20% growth every year, you would be doubling your industry every 3.5 years. Would 100 billion exports be difficult at that time? I think by 2047, if somebody does the maths, with a $11 billion export today, you are only looking at about 4 rounds of doubling in say 4 years, by 2047 you'll probably be a $125 billion industry. And it's all eminently doable, very much doable. We have to go from this interaction today with the confidence that we can and we shall. And once each one of you, stalwarts of this industry, make up your mind, I'm sure you will find solutions. As they say, there'll be 1,000,000 problems, but we have 1,000,000,000 minds to solve those 1,000,000 problems. And our 1,000,000,000 minds can do it if we all decide to. Friends, from the part of the government, we are happy to take every possible step to support your industry. I would in fact urge you to look at quality standards in a good way, in a big way, so that our Indian products are high quality. We stop the import of substandard, low quality goods coming in from opaque geographies where there are non-transparent and opaque trading systems. मेरा इशारा तो आप लोग सब समझ ही रहे हैं. There are still imports of plastic products in a big way. That must stop, not because of I want to stop the competition. It must stop because you have the ability to do better than them. It's also high time, collectively, while I know that there are extended producer liabilities and other things which have been taken up by industry, but it's time we looked at the circular economy in a much bigger way. I remember as Railway Minister I had promoted in a large measure that we set up these plastic bottle crushing machines in all the stations of India. To my mind, we should have a plastic bottle crushing machine literally on every street corner in India. Because the amount of plastic we see all around, while we have plastic bottles here, many times we have glass bottles. I think I see glass bottles on your tables. In my humble view, the glass bottle is not good for India. I'm not against glass. कि वो glass वाले मेरे यहाँ धरना बोल दें. I'm not at all against glass. But for packaging a product like water in a glass bottle, you are not only making it so much more expensive, then this bottle may be half used. Most of the bottles I see on your tables are not fully empty, half used. That water goes waste. Then this bottle has to be transported in a truck which is spewing diesel and fumes all over the place to a washing center. We are using water to wash these bottles to make them hygienic again, and then filling and sealing it again. Just doesn't make sense. But the attack on plastic is because of the plastic waste clogging the drains. We'll have to work in partnership with each other. You can't wait for the government to do everything. And by the way, my own study 3-4 years ago showed that each of these plastic crushing bottles is a good economic business model. It pelletizes the plastic, saves us from large landfills and waste dumps. There's an economic value to that waste. In many places, I remember people setting up this machine and giving a coupon of some value to those who threw the machine in that bottle, threw the bottle in the machine. Innovation is going to be the way forward. And I would urge the captains of industry to have dedicated teams. And Nanavati ji, आपने lead लेना पड़ेगा इसमें. आपके पास क्षमता है, आपके पास वो vision है, वो leadership है जिसने हर क्षेत्र में कुछ ना कुछ अद्भुत करके बताया. यहाँ तक कि मोबाइल फोन का कॉस्ट भी एक पोस्ट कार्ड जितना बनाया है जो धीरूभाई का सपना था. और हम सब मिलके अगर नई सोच के साथ नई चीजों को लाते हैं तो मुझे पूरा विश्वास है इंडस्ट्री भी ग्रो करेगी, आप लाखों करोड़ों लोगों को रोजगार भी देंगे, आपके स्वयं का बिजनेस बढ़ेगा और देश के इस आत्मनिर्भर बनने के अभियान में, देश की इस अमृत काल की यात्रा में जब हम विकसित भारत की तरफ तेजी से बढ़ रहे हैं, दुनिया की सबसे तेज गति से बढ़ने वाली अर्थव्यवस्था आज भारत में है। एक फ्रैजाइल 5 इकोनॉमी आज विश्व की 5वीं सबसे बड़ी इकोनॉमी है। हमारे पास विश्व के 4-5 देश के पास जो सबसे अधिक फॉरेन एक्सचेंज रिजर्व्स है वो भारत के पास है। हर सर्वे बताता है कि आने वाले 2-3-4 दशक भारत का समय है। हम तेजी से आगे बढ़ेंगे। इस देश में जब 10 गुना प्रगति होगी, $3.5 ट्रिलियन से हम $35 ट्रिलियन की इकोनॉमी बनाएंगे आने वाले 25 वर्षों में, तो क्या प्लास्टिक सेक्टर पीछे रह सकता है? हर व्यक्ति के जीवन में प्लास्टिक का एक बहुत बड़ा योगदान है और मैं समझता हूं आप अपने योगदान को कभी कम मत समझना। आपका योगदान कोई देश सेवा से कम नहीं है और इसी प्रकार से बेस्ट प्रैक्टिसेस, इनोवेशन, टेक्नोलॉजी, इकोनॉमीज ऑफ स्केल, हाई क्वालिटी, इन सबको अगर हमने सम्मिलित कर लिया, इन सबको हमारे पूरे सेक्टर ने ग्रहण कर लिया अपने अंदर, तो मैं समझता हूं 23 अगस्त वैसे भी भारत के इतिहास में एक बड़ा ही महत्वपूर्ण दिन है। आज नेशनल स्पोर्ट्स डे है, अभी अभी आप बता रहे थे आलोक जी। आज ही के दिन पिछले वर्ष चंद्रयान ने सॉफ्ट लैंडिंग की थी मून के ऊपर। मुझे याद है उस दिन हमारे G20 ट्रेड मिनिस्टर्स, ट्रेड एंड इन्वेस्टमेंट मिनिस्टर्स की मीटिंग शुरू हुई थी जयपुर में। तो मीटिंग शुरू होने के पहले सभी दुनिया के ट्रेड मिनिस्टर्स को हमने स्क्रीन के ऊपर लैंडिंग दिखाई, भारत की क्षमता दिखाई, हमारी ताकत का परिचय दिया। तो मेरे लिए तो 23 अगस्त एक स्पेशल सिग्निफिकेंस रखता है और मुझे पूरा विश्वास है आपके जीवन में, आपके उद्योग में, आपके व्यापार में भी आप सब आज इस प्लास्टिंडिया 2026 भारत नेक्स्ट के लॉन्च पर, कर्टन रेजर पर पूरी शिद्दत के साथ, पूरे जोश के साथ तय करके जाओगे कि भारत की प्लास्टिक इंडस्ट्री विश्व स्तरीय बनेगी। भारत की प्लास्टिक इंडस्ट्री अब सेकंड टू नन का नारा लेके चलेगी। भारत की प्लास्टिक इंडस्ट्री अब क्वालिटी, इनोवेशन, टेक्नोलॉजी में अग्रसर रहेगी। और शाहरुख खान ने भी कहा था कि जब कोई चीज की इच्छा बहुत शिद्दत से हो, बहुत पक्के इरादे से हो, तो पूरी कायनात भी उतर आती है आपकी मदद करने के लिए। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
ओवरवेल्म्ड, थैंक यू सो मच सर। आपकी तरफ से एक स्वागत हम भी आज घोषित कर देते हैं। In honor of all the great words and the vision set by you today, we at Plastindia, we are announcing 2 discounts. The early bird discount when you book up to 31st October 2024 will be 800 rupees a square meter, and a loyalty discount to all the exhibitors who have been with Plastindia in 23 will be another 800 rupees a square meter.
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, Shri Piyush Goyal ji, for your valuable presence and your pioneering guidance that has truly steered the vision and the ambition for Plastindia 2026. इसी के साथ, yes sir.
I forgot, I had SMS my office. We will have a 2-officer panel from DPIIT, Mr. Sanjeev, and from Commerce, Aishwarya Singh. 2 very senior officials will be at your service for anything you require across the government. Anything you require at Bharat Mandapam, Yashobhumi, or anywhere else in the country, anything you require from any state government or Delhi administration, you are free to contact them. I can assure you, you will not find them less than what you would get anywhere in the world. Outstanding officials, and they'll be at your beck and call. Thank you.